Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Collective. I'm your host, Laura Malone, and you are in the right place if you want to make an impact in your life and the lives of the people around you. Maybe you even want to turn your gift of helping others into an income so you can support your family and your dreams and make a way for your calling. I'm here to guide you because you deserve to have encouragement and resources and somebody invested in you as you go invest yourself into everyone else. Let's dive into today's episode. So I recently heard somebody say there's research on what season is the best to get going on all of the goals that you have wanted to reach. And I just felt like, okay, I need to go look into that. And I know September's almost over, and here I am sharing about this season, like using it to dive into productivity at the end of September. And we're already into the fall a little bit, depending on where you're at, but hear me out. So really, fall is the foundation to everything that you think you want to start doing in January. It's a great season to clean out and declutter and to recommit to what you already decided to do. And for us, our attic entryway is in like the loft where our dining room is, and it's crazy hot during the summer. So fall is actually when we go, okay, we committed, let's recommit to get in there, clean up the crazy that we've actually just been throwing in there over the past 6 months. And like the air is nicer, crisper, the leaves are falling, the pumpkin spice lattes pop up everywhere. The Trader Joe's stores start putting out all the pumpkin things, including gluten-free pumpkin bread mix. Thank you. And also I think this is when I start looking for Trader Joe's the gluten-free stuffing mix. It's like the best ever. And you have to buy like all 20 boxes that they produce in one store before they're all sold out, because they're not there when you want stuffing. So you have to do it now. But basically we're just like stepping into the perfect time to pause and reflect and realign and reimagine. So it's like this natural seasonal invitation to look back at everything in the past year and like check in with yourself. Are you in alignment with all of the things that you said were your true goals? Are there things that you've outgrown or you just need to let go of? And then how can you tangibly set yourself up for success as we're heading towards January and the new year? It's going to be here in a heartbeat. Like I said, end of September. We have October. And then November is officially a holiday season. So we have to think about this now. And I wish that somebody had taught me earlier in life to start thinking about later sooner. Why isn't that a class in high school? Oh my gosh. But before we go too far down this direction, I want to take 1 minute to share a little side story. It's super important and yet totally off topic. As I am literally recording this episode, there is a massive hurricane headed towards the state of Florida. It's headed right to an area where I have a lot of friends and where there's honestly simply just enough devastation that's happened there over the years. And these areas don't need more pain and suffering. And yet they do know they live in a hurricane-prone area. So if you aren't sure, if you don't know about this already, maybe you've heard me talk about it on the podcast. Maybe as a client, you probably know it. Maybe you've seen it on social media. I run a faith-based disaster relief organization called Crisis Response International. We're actually getting ready for our deployment to Florida to respond to Hurricane Helene. And my husband and I started this volunteer-based nonprofit ourselves. We are the founders and directors. We've been doing this work for 18 years around the world. And we have seen the love of God shared to thousands and thousands of people in the middle of like their greatest need, their biggest losses, like their darkest nights, right? That's where we go. And we often go to places that are lesser known and get less attention from FEMA and the news and all of the places, like the big cities and the hardest hit, the greatest populations and the places that lose the most money usually get the most attention. But like in Haiti, we went to Leogand, which is actually the epicenter of that earthquake over 10 years ago, where Port-au-Prince got most of the attention because it was a port city. And so we like to go to the places where they're not getting the attention and the relief. And we want to go bring the love of God and like the tangible resources they really need in their time of trouble, right? So I would love for you to check out our website, get trained and go deploy with us. And also, we really need donations so we can feed people and meet their tangible needs, like mucking out their flooded homes, tarping their roofs, as well as ministering to their spiritual and emotional needs. We have a chaplaincy program, and we send chaplains out to areas not just in like disaster relief where it's definitely needed, but also mass shootings and the type of crisis that's not disaster, like natural disaster, as much as it is man-made crisis. So that's my little shout out to the work that my husband and I do in addition to my coaching business and the needs of the people who are actually facing the storm, who are going to be desperate for relief in literally hours from the time that this is being published. So if you have ever faced a trial yourself, you know how much it means for somebody to like give you a hug, make you a meal, pray for you. But when somebody comes and actually does all of those things, plus they hand you a Lowe's home store gift card, and they help you dig through the ruins of your home to find family pictures and your favorite Bible, and then they offer you to plug into the generator so you can charge your phone and contact your family. Like those are all things that are gifts of hope you can really grasp onto that you might not have even known was possible somebody would come help you do. So that's what we do in CRI, Crisis Response International. We for short call it CRI. We go and we bring hope in all of the ways. And the website is cryout.com. And we took that from Psalm 72:12, for he will deliver the needy who cry out and the afflicted who have no helper. But of course, it's CRIOUT because I is for international. So it's a little play on words, but the link will be in the show notes. And right now, I just want you to grab your PSL or your mug of cider or whatever, and let's dive into how we can use the fall season to realign and let go and reimagine all the things that are possible. All right. So fall is perfect for reflection. It's like the energy shifts from the intense push of summer to more quiet, introspective kind of rhythm. And it's a really good time for self-reflection. You've got all of this year behind you already, 9 months, 10 months. So we start the year with big plans and new resolutions and a lot of energy, but then by fall, there's been a lot of months of changes and surprises and some curveballs. And that's why now is the perfect time to like check in with yourself, especially before all of the hectic holidays kick in. But thank you, Costco and Hobby Lobby, for going ahead and making sure that Christmas has been there since July. Here is a simple but really powerful exercise that you can do this week. Just take 20, 30 minutes, grab a notebook, and think about the following questions, or open a page, like a document on your computer, whatever you need to do. What were the main goals I set at the beginning of this year or anytime throughout the year that like these are still goals that are in my brain? My brain is thinking these are goals that I have not achieved yet. Which ones have I achieved? Like actually take stock of that. Which ones are still feeling relevant? What no longer aligns with where I'm at today and like the goals I have? And what lessons have I learned that I didn't expect throughout it? So it's not just a process about looking at what you've done. It's about understanding that over time, your values and priorities shift. And so it's okay if things look different now than they did in January, because that's still growth, right? I can tell you this is a big one for me because the vision I had in January is so clearly not the vision I'm operating from now. But thank God I recognized it, because if I had failed to see then I would be kicking myself for not reaching all those goals and not following through on things. But we were in a car accident in February after I had set all those goals in January. My husband got a really bad concussion. He's just now actually what we would call recovered all these months later. Our organization, Cry, has gone through a lot of changes. Our kids have gone through a ton. There's been unexpected losses, unexpected big shifts. And what I thought was going to happen in January, what I thought I'd be capable of doing this year, was simply not what happened. That said, it required me stopping, sitting down, taking a minute, and getting my own realignment and reimagining of my own vision and plans personally, in my household, in my ministry as an organization, and my ministry as a business. So while you're doing this exercise, to make it just a little bit more actionable, and especially for the future when you look back at it, I like to use bullet points or create like an outline to write down my reflections on all these things instead of long journal entries. Or at least if you do need to do the long journal entry, then put it into a bulleted format or outline. So that way, when you look at it, it's easier to see patterns or changes when you review it, and you're more likely to stick with it. So you might know that my husband and I went to Hawaii to teach and then to visit our daughter who lives there with YWAM, which is Youth with a Mission. And after 2 weeks of that trip, during which I got sick on that trip, and then I came home still sick, and then it took 3 more weeks to put things to right and feel somewhat normal. Life has been like upside down and lopsided for a while now. So we're trudging along, we're trusting in God, because you know what? Here's the deal. Kingdom of Heaven is an upside down kingdom too. So if I feel like my world is upside down, I think actually I might be kind of okay. Needless to say, before I left for Hawaii, I was all about watering the plants in the summer heat out on the lanai. I was all about skimming the pool and taking care of it. I was all about being in the sun. But when I got home, I wanted all those things to disappear. I wanted to throw all the plants away. I wanted all decision-making and extra work to go away. I wanted all the extra things needing attention to die off. I wanted all the hard things to cease. I wanted a new season. I needed it to feel more productive. So we were all ready for like this schedule again, because after summer, it's like so refreshing to get into a groove, even though, I mean, I'm going to be sick of that groove in like 4 to 5 months, but right now it feels good. So the weather's changing, except sorry about that, my Floridian panhandle friends. I know you don't really want the weather to change right now because of what it means for hurricane season. Around the world, like it's either not so hot as it was in the summer, or it's not so cold if you're in the southern hemisphere. Your body might even feel more energized to take action in this season. So the rest of the world around you is like making all these changes and shifting their schedules and doing things that are kind of like environmental cues that we are shifting into a new season. And there's a ton of products out there that are simply begging you to get more productive. Journals and binders and new calendars and things that go like new gel pens, new highlighters, new little sticky things. They're all just waiting to go home with you from the store. And I know like you're probably thinking like, why would I do something now that feels big like this and not wait for January? And my answer is January is nice. It's fun to plan and believe that we will make those changes. It's nice to have ideas and conceptions that we're going to make those commitments and envision and dream of being the person who will stick to them. That's why I think January is fun for the planner in our brain, but not always really fun for the follow through. So basically, doing all this reflective work in the fall is more effective than waiting till January, because you need the reflection and you need the clarity. When your brain, you're like, I'm going to do this thing. And I think that's what we do that doesn't set us up for success in January, is we don't do all of the work to get prepared for what we say we're going to do in January. The stats on New Year's resolutions show us that waiting for the calendar to flip actually leads to disappointment and burnout. Studies show that around 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. Mind you, that's month 2. We start the resolution month 1. We don't get very far. So we set these lofty goals in January, and we have pressure to make like these sweeping life changes after the holidays, but we have no solid plan. We have no emotional investment. So as a result, the momentum fades really quick. And only about 8 or 9% of people achieve these New Year's goals by the end of the year. So that happens because most people are caught up in the new year, new me mindset without enough of the introspection and gradual planning beforehand to set them up for success. Plus, you already spent a ton of money at Christmas, so you don't have a bunch left to invest in yourself. And you're inspired by the shiny new plan. You have the shiny new plan syndrome, but it's only exciting until you actually have to implement it. And you think that you want something only to find out it's really a false goal, meaning that if it was a true goal, you would actually take the action necessary to reach it, and you would have results that prove it's really what you want. Like I always say, if you say, I want to lose weight, but you don't reduce the things that cause you to gain weight, you never change your exercise, you never create exercise in your life, you don't move your body, you never make a plan or create a protocol to follow, you don't find accountability, then that is not your true goal. It is a false goal. You're thinking about it, but it's not actually a goal that you're going to move towards, because the actions you take reveal your true goal, and your true goal is comfort and ease and fun and safe. So you stay on the couch, you stay on the computer, you stay on your phone, you don't move your body, you don't change your eating habits. That reveals your true goal. That's okay that is your true goal, but it's not, you have to recognize it. And if you don't recognize that's your true goal, you will never make the necessary shift to move towards a true goal that will benefit you in the long run and that you'll get in alignment. You've got a cognitive dissonance, right? And that's all of January is full of this cognitive dissonance. I say I want this, but I'm not doing anything. So then you prove to yourself that you have no integrity because you never follow through and do anything that you told you would do. Welcome to life coaching. Also, if you don't have the necessary skills and foundations to be someone who starts a thing, follows through, and finishes, then all those ideas in January will fall short. So instead of waiting for January, fall is just such a natural, productive time for reflection and goal setting. And this is why. There's more energy and there's more mental space here. By the time January comes around, we're recovering from the holiday fatigue and the emotions, and that all of that makes it hard to focus on setting and sticking to our resolutions. But fall is a quieter time, so there's more mental space to reflect without the distractions of year-end festivities, and all the kids are back in school, and you're more likely to set thoughtful, realistic goals that are going to align with true priorities. So research shows that setting goals when you're less stressed leads to better follow-through. I think that's because you're listening to the adult brain. The 50 is what I call it. The prefrontal cortex that makes decisions with rationale and future in mind, as opposed to the limbic brain system, the amygdala, the lizard brain, the reactive brain that I call the 5, like a 5-year-old, that does things from fight or flight and makes all or nothing decisions. And I think that's a lot of what happens in January is we make all or nothing decisions because of what happened in the holidays. So take advantage of the kind of relative calmness of fall to set realistic goals and start slowly building your momentum. Also, the season is better for habit formation. The time it takes to form a new habit varies, but it's around 66 days on average, they say. So if you start adjusting and realigning habits now, you'll have a rhythm by January. So instead of starting from scratch at the beginning of the year, you're going to have 2 to 3 months of habit building behind you. If one of your January goals is to get in shape, then start working out 2 to 3 times a week in the fall. by January, you'll already be in the groove. It's going to make it so much easier for you to ramp things up for all that inspiration you have in January. Also, it's a great time now to set realistic, incremental goals because fall just kind of encourages gradual, sustainable goal setting because there's no overwhelming reset pressure like there is in January. So this helps you set smaller, achievable goals, and that increases your chances of success. So breaking goals into smaller, measurable steps makes people like 90% more likely to stick with them, in contrast to setting big, vague resolutions. Literally, if you ever feel like there's something you just can't get done or start on because it feels like it's so overwhelming, it's so big, it's so much, you have to break it down to one small thing that you can do. If you don't, you actually are creating a different problem called decision fatigue because you have this idea that you're going to do something, but no belief that you can do it, that you will do it. So it's just draining the brain battery, and then you're holding it against yourself and you're in a shame cycle. Ha! So start by setting 1 or 2 mini goals for the next 3 months. And then by January, you will have seen progress and be motivated to keep going. Also, in this time of year, it's really a built-in time for reflection. And it's the time of year where we can see what's been working and what hasn't been working without the pressure of the clock ticking in the new year. So this period of reflection helps us let go of the outdated goals or the habits and set the stage for meaningful, aligned progress. And it's said that people who write down their goals and reflect on their progress regularly, I say daily, are 42% more likely to achieve them. So fall's a really great time to use that reflective energy to revisit all of your goals and really refine them. And the key is to use the fall as your planning and alignment period. So when January hits, you're not just setting goals, you're already in motion. You're less likely to feel the pressure to fix everything at once. You're more likely to focus on building momentum. So you're going to create a solid foundation. That way, instead of sprinting in January, you're already starting out running a marathon. Now, I want to tell you about 5 of the top New Year's resolutions and what you can do now as an example for you. So you can create a foundation you can run on so you're set yourself up for January success. And even if these things are not your goals right now, and you don't set these goals in January, I want to just give you these examples so you can contextualize it to yourself. Because if you have a different goal, you can say oh, but these are ideas of 3 things I could do now to create that foundation for later. So number 1, you probably know, is exercise more. Top New Year's resolution: exercise more, lose weight, get organized, save money, spend less money, and quit unhealthy habits. So if your goal in January, if you think you're going to be likely to say, I want to exercise more, then right now start creating a workout plan. I don't care. Use AI if you have to. Tell it who you are and what you want and ask it to create a 7-day workout plan or a 30-day workout plan and tell you exactly how to do it. It's so easy. Then experiment to see what kind of exercise do you enjoy doing the most so it's sustainable for you. Go check out the YMCA. Go check out Orange Theory. Buy a set of weights on Amazon. Whatever you need to do to start seeing what you enjoy doing so that in January you go, hey, I know what I love doing. I'm going to go after that. And then just start walking for 30 minutes 3 times a week and build up your endurance and help your heart and muscles and joints get prepared for the resolution that you're going to set in a few months. Number 2, that lose weight thing. I would say start now by laying out what you believe your ideal weight really is for your body frame. My ideal weight is way different than my best friend's ideal weight because we have very different body frames. Decide what you would be willing to do to reach that weight. What you wouldn't be willing to do to reach that weight is equally as important. And then choose one habit to kick that to start working on getting rid of and cutting out, removing sugar or soda or alcohol or gluten, whatever. Pick one thing that you know doesn't make you feel good. And just getting the one thing out of your body that's harmful And reducing it from your body is going to go a long way come January. Number 3 is get organized. If you're going to do that later, then right now, go buy some baskets and crates, even if it's like at the dollar store. You don't have to spend a ton of money. Actually, I think that's called the $1.25 store now with options for 3, 5, and 10. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not the dollar store. And then start with one small space, like a pantry or a closet or a cabinet. Start throwing things away and donating them and sorting them. And then when you look at life in January and you are going like, I'm going really big on organization this year, you can look back and see how you did the one thing and what you feel is working for you, what you feel isn't. And then also just in general, if you're not looking at like organization in a natural, like a tangible way, you're looking at that intangible, like life organization, go buy yourself a planner or a calendar or a journal or an app, whatever. Do some experimentation to see what works for you, that you would actually sustain and follow through beyond January 23rd. Something that, like, there's calendars that cover now till the end of next year. Start keeping track of goals and ideas and vision. In a few months, you can actually ask yourself, do I still have the same goals, ideas, and vision as I did in September or October? If you do, you're more likely to have things that you should press into, like on the list, right? Like you should stick with those things. You wanted those things 3 months ago and you still really want them. Okay. You still really want all of that. Start organizing and creating some like time blocking or some boundaries for your time and your energy. Number 4 is saving more money and spending less money. Right now, go open a savings account if you don't have one. Create an automated transfer for like $25 or $50 or $100 so it automatically goes into your savings every week or month. Then go through all of your bills and also write out how much money you want to save. Write all of this out plainly so you can see the vision and run with it. Okay? Thank you, Habakkuk 2:2. And lastly, cut out all the baloney that you're spending money on, like subscriptions you don't use and all of that stuff. You know what I'm talking about, Blinkist. I love you, Blinkist. But a lot of people I know who have Blinkist are not using Blinkist, and they're paying $50 a month. I still recommend Blinkist, hear me, but not if you're not using it. So when you come to January, you're going to be really ready to buckle down on your money. You can also take advantage of things like free budgeting guides from Dave Ramsey. I'll put the link in the show notes for that. There's all sorts of ways you can start learning about budgeting and saving and spending less and all of those things. You can start learning that now so you can do it later, okay? I don't want you to get to January and go like, oh, I can't do it yet. I need to learn about it. That is so your brain saying, oh, not yet. I'm not bought in. Number 5, quit unhealthy habits. Here's the deal. I would coach anybody this way. Begin to understand your habit loop, meaning you have to learn how to identify the trigger that leads to the buffering action that you take in order to deal with the thoughts and emotions that you're having. Then start eliminating any triggers that you can get rid of, the stressors or the things that happen that cause the buffering, or it cause the thoughts that create the emotions that cause buffering action. Then study the dopamine challenge. Start figuring out like what dopamine actually is for and how it's created and how you're using it and why your brain is addicted to this false pleasure that your habit loop is feeding. And also go find some accountability. Find the people who are right for this season where you're going to try to quit something that you are habitually doing or you're addicted to. Then you're going to be really set up for success when you decide in January to put your head down and dive into the painful but beautifully rewarding process of changing habits and breaking addictions to get free. I cannot miss the opportunity to add that coaching will make all of those things more ultimately successful. So grab the link in the show notes. Get a free consultation to chat with me about working and reaching those goals. Now, let's also talk about what no longer serves you. The things that you need to let go of. The trees shed their leaves And fall's like this invitation to release the things that no longer work for us, that don't need to be there. We're going to prune the things back in fall so that they can bloom and grow and be fruitful in the spring, in the next season. And that includes outdated goals and ideas we thought were important, but no longer feel right for us. So go through the goals that you've listed from earlier and ask each goal, each idea, everything that you've held yourself to or like has been hanging over your head. Does this idea or goal still light me up? Does it still align with the person I am today, the priorities I have right now in this season? And if the answer is no, or you feel some sense of obligation instead of excitement, it's maybe time to let that goal go. I know it can be tough because we hold on to goals that reflect who we used to be or what we thought we wanted, but actually clinging to old ideas just keeps us stuck. And sometimes God wants to take us from the old wineskin and put us in a new one. And you got to let go of anything that was from the old wineskin because you can't put that in the new wineskin. And in the new wineskin, you don't want things that are going to poke holes in it and rip it open, right? Or taint the wine in it. So create a let go list and write down all the things you're releasing this fall. Think of it like you draw yourself a tree and write on all of these different leaves. Go to the kids, like a preschooler's worksheet website and print out a fall tree picture. And then all the leaves, like write off all the things that I'm saying this, like if you're a visual person, or maybe if you're an artist, you can just go ahead and draw yourself a tree, pretty leaves. Give yourself permission to move on from all these things. You might want to create like a ritual around this, like maybe every week you do this in the fall. One of my favorite things is to like write them on small pieces of paper. I'm all big about my Post-it notes, always in all the sizes and colors. And then tear them up and put them in the trash as like this symbolic act of letting go. I bet you that there are Post-it notes out there in the world that are in the shape of leaves. Ooh, do that. It's really freeing. And I will say that some of the Post-its, I might have some strong emotion about some of them. And so I might have been known to scratch through the words and write new ones before I tear it up. So now that you've made space by letting go, let's reimagine your goals. Sometimes it's not always about ditching a goal completely, but more like adjusting it to fit better into this season. And for new goals, fall's, obviously a great time to set new intentions for the rest of the year that are going to support next year. So think of it like a mini New Year's Day. Maybe you could actually create like a mini New Year's Day. Maybe it's a mini same year day and you do it like October 1st instead of January 1st. And you just have yourself a little party. Take yourself out to lunch. Okay, you know what? This is what I'm doing. As of right now, this is a brilliant idea. And I'm going to go out on October 1st. I'm going to take myself to lunch. And I'm going to do literally everything that I am talking to you about today. I'm going to do all of that. I think that sounds so fun. Maybe we'll do like a little challenge or something. October 1st falls on next Tuesday. I'm going to lunch and I'm taking my computer and I'm going to take my sharpened pencils and my notebook and we are going after this. And join the Christian Life Coach Collective Facebook group and we can do it together. That would be fun. Okay. I got a little sidetracked there. I'm like, I think I'm going to call it this year's day. Instead of New Year's Day, it's going to be this year's day. I love it. Okay. It has so much less pressure. I feel really excited about it, but I don't feel all the pressure I usually feel on January day, January 1st. Okay. So you have a few months left in the year. Enough time to like focus on at least one goal or maybe two that matter to you without the weight of all the expectations. So revisit existing goals. Are there any that are still resonating, but you just have to tweak them? Maybe like a launch of a big project, or instead of keeping it as this big project, and now you only have 3 months left to get done, maybe you scale it back and focus on like the first aspect of it or a smaller aspect of it. And then adjust all your goals to reflect what feels right now and not what you thought would work earlier in the year. And then maybe you would even set 1 or 2 like fresh new goals for the rest of the year. Things that you know are achievable, like cleaning out the attic. Okay, I can get that done by the end of November if I start now. Okay, I can get it done sooner. Do I want to? I don't know. Might not be a true goal. So maybe it's something like not breaking a habit, but just establishing like a healthier habit. Maybe you cut out that really, really sweet sugar creamer you use in your coffee and you just start using half and half and some stevia or something like that. Something that doesn't spike your blood sugar so first thing in the morning and so high, and then sets you up to cut out sugar in January, right? Or something like that. Reconnect with like a hobby you like. I miss painting. I haven't been acrylic pouring for a while and I really miss it. Take some kind of specific step towards a long-term vision in the next year. I'm not going to say the next year right now, 2025, because when you listen to this, it might be next year and I'd be saying the wrong thing. So a quick win strategy here is to break all your new goals and revisited existing goals, all the things you're reimagining. Break them into like mini milestones. So instead of thinking on the terms of, I want to start a business, say by the end of November, I'm going to have a business plan drafted, or I'll commit to 10 minutes a day of sketching to rekindle my love for like my hobby of art, right? The best part about reflecting in the fall is that it's really setting you up beautifully for the future. And you can have like this January jumpstart list with projects and habits and actions that you want to dive into as soon as the new year begins. Think of it like as a prep list so that when January hits, you're not scrambling to think more and make more decisions and figure it all out. Like right now, you're doing things to get clarity about what you want in the future, and you're creating a strategy, and then you're doing the preparation work. And that means you also need to prep your environment. Maybe you need to tell people about the direction you're changing and the direction you're going. Declutter all the workspace, organize your finances, plan a schedule for the first quarter of next year. Take the small actions now to create a supportive environment for your future goals. If my walls weren't painted in my office, maybe I would say, I really feel like I want everything painted. I felt this way last year. I felt this like I want to go into January with my walls painted. And that's just going to make me feel more focused on everything I really want to do in January because this one thing is not hanging over my head. So go change your environment now, because painting the walls in January shouldn't be my focus. It shouldn't be my priority. It should be done. One idea is to have a transition week in December. And I think about this like when you start to go into a new routine, like my kids, I would say, okay, like if school's about to start, and as homeschoolers, that was a loose interpretation. But I would say like we're about to go back into a regular routine, or if they were going to start a job or a new job. And I remember this from when I was a kid in the summer, my mom would say, you need to start going to bed earlier so you're ready to get out of bed when it's time on the first day of school, right? I never did that because I was a kid and I did not see like how important that could be. Now I get it. And now I watch my kids resist the importance of it. So if one of your January goals is to meditate daily, like spend every morning like in the quiet, worshiping, praying, like meditating on the goodness of God, right? Whatever. And you have a hard time getting up in the morning, start just using 5 minutes for meditation and prayer every day during the last week of December, after the holidays, after Like when everybody else is like, and they're crashing after Christmas Day. Well, start taking 5 to 10 minutes each morning before you do anything else and just give it to the Lord and create a precedent for a foundation for the next step where a week later you're going to go in and you're going to be like, I spend the first 30 minutes or an hour of my day in the Word or doing whatever you're going to do. That way, when the new year begins, you're already in the flow. Or maybe you're like, in January, I want to be part of the 5 a.m. club. I bought the book. I'm reading the book. Well, if you want that in January, join the 6 a.m. club in December. Maybe join the 6:30 a.m. club in November and the 7 a.m. club in October. I know it's getting dark when it's that early, but you're going to enjoy it when you get used to it. I may or may not be speaking directly to myself. No comment. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Basically, I'm just saying, fall is all about shifting into alignment with who you are right now. You should use this season to pause and reflect and let go, set intentions and get aligned and reimagine what the rest of your year is going to be like. And it's not about perfection. It's about creating space for yourself to grow and get clarity and be renewed. So this week, I just encourage you to take a reflective walk, journal your thoughts, and embrace all of the season of change that's happening, whether you know it and recognize it, pay attention or not, whether you're intentionally using it to the fullest that you can. It's here. We're in a season of change. And by the time January comes around, you're going to be clearer, you're going to be more aligned, and you're really going to be ready to start running really in that marathon. Think of right now as if January is when the gun goes off and all the marathon runners start running. Right now, you need to be training. You need to be finding your shoes. You need to be learning how to be hydrated. You need to learn how to train yourself mentally to be a marathon runner. You don't learn all of that stuff on January 1st, and you don't finish a marathon that you did not prepare for. Nobody just starts running marathons without stretching their muscles, without building their endurance first, okay? Thanks for joining me today. I know it was a lot, but I felt like so passionate about this one. And obviously, like, if you're going to do this, follow me on Instagram at Coach Laura Malone and DM me. Tell me what you're letting go of, what goals you're setting, and then if you are going to join me on October 1st for this year's day, and take yourself out to lunch or dinner or coffee or breakfast or something, and just commit to laying out. Follow all of this. Check this out on the blog. I'll put the link in the show notes. Go to sterlingandstonementoring.com/the blog. Click on the tab wherever you go, however you get there, and you'll find this episode there with all of the things I'm telling you to do. And you can literally put that on your computer or print it out and work it through so that you can do these things. Wait a minute. I had another brilliant idea. I'm going to turn this into a worksheet for you. Yes. Instead of, you can still go over to the blog and then see everything, the transcript from the show. But I'm actually going to take all these exercises, all these suggestions and resources, and I'm going to put it into a downloadable worksheet that you can grab for free. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share it in the Christian Life Coach Collective Facebook group, and it's going to be downloadable. I'll put the link in the show notes, and you'll be able to find it as a free resource on the website. So since I just came up with that, it will not be available immediately from the moment of publishing this episode. But I will spend the rest of today creating it, because I think it's going to be really helpful, and I guarantee I will add to it because I'm going to think of other brilliant ideas while I'm creating it. Okay. All right. Until next week, take care, stay cozy, sip your pumpkin spice, and remember, don't leave your dreams hanging. Stay grounded. If you'd like to work with me and get coaching, become a coach, or start a coaching business, check out all the courses and coaching I offer at sterlingandstonementoring.com, or you can scroll through the show notes to find all the links that you need. I pray that your day will be full of joy, hope, transformation, and the presence of God.